Hello, hello, hello. I think you guys can hear me now. Yay. So, welcome to Crime Time with Jess. Cynthia, if you want to go ahead and click that link and come on up, we are obviously going to be talking about Chase Venstra and James Brenner. So, what I was saying that you guys could not hear was just that many sleepless nights with this case, and it's been a lot. There's been so much behind the scenes, so much. So there's Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia is also running off of this. Turn off your YouTube, Cynthia.
Yeah, I just muted it. I just realized that. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, you always have to turn off the YouTube or there's the back sound. Yeah, so Cynthia running off no sleep, me running off very little sleep, but we wanted to go live earlier with this, but we're just going to do it now. So late night crew, hi, Jerry, don't go to bed. So
Hi, everyone.
yeah, and hello to Cynthia, to everyone. So what we wanted to go over first are the facts, and then of course we'll do what we usually do and do our theorizing. But the facts are right now that Chase Venstra has not been named a suspect. I have seen this reported on other channels and even news stations in a way. But when you go over that paperwork of Chase Venstra, and I will be posting this on my community tab again, he is not named as a suspect as of yet in Dylan's disappearance. Not at all. There wasn't a single thing in that paperwork that mentioned Dylan Rounds that had anything to do with Dylan Rounds. Now, there is sort of a discrepancy, or we think maybe a discrepancy. We're not sure. It states in that paperwork that on May 12th, they executed a search warrant for Chase Venstra's property. Now, as you guys all know, Dylan went missing on the 28th. So if this date is correct, May 12th, it couldn't have been for Dylan because Dylan was not missing yet. And it does say they executed the search warrant in conjunction with a homicide. It's very possible that Chase Venstra was already being looked at for another homicide. Or there could have been a typo. I contacted via phone the attorney for the United States. His name is Adam Egren, I believe, Cynthia.
Elgren. And I
Egren.
sent an email, but I haven't heard back from him.
Yes, and then Cynthia also sent an email, both of us questioning, was this May 12th date a typo or is that the real date? And the clerk that answered didn't really know. He said that he could email me back. Cynthia again sent an email herself asking the same thing. And then later in the day, we see this press release saying that, they're still just naming James Brenner. The investigation is ongoing, but you do not see Chase Venstra's name in that at all. And that is on my community tab. So I do want to just read that out real quick. I don't know that I necessarily want to share my screen for that, but I am going to read this out if you have not seen it, but we are going to read it really quickly. This was today. Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, Federal Bureau of Investigation, joint press release. Incident, Dylan Rounds, missing person, criminal investigation update. During the course of this investigation, multiple persons have been interviewed by the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and other assisting agencies. Multiple arrests have been made for unrelated warrants and crimes that have been discovered during this process. When Dylan Rounds was not located early on in the search effort, the investigation focused on the possibility of Dylan being the victim of a crime. The current totality of information gathered from the many interviews and searches, along with the analysis of both physical evidence and forensic data, has identified James Brenner as a suspect. Brenner is currently being held in the Weber County Jail on unrelated federal firearm charges. no criminal charges have been filed specifically regarding the Dylan Rounds case. So they have not laid charges yet. This investigation is not complete and remains active. Law enforcement investigators are continuing to work to locate Dylan and find answers. So again, we speculated and sort of know that they're absolutely looking for most likely his remains.
The keywords are like forensics and physical evidence.
Yes,
Those
exactly.
are the words that stand out to me.
Yes, the physical evidence and forensic data. Forensic is phone. It could be CCTV. Tech is what that is. Forensic data. And then it says, at this time, no further information or comment related to this criminal investigation will be released. So they come out and say, once again, James Brenner is a suspect. They do not mention Chase Venstra's name as of yet. So we always want to be clear that even though I believe that Chase was involved, and that's my own speculation, as of this moment, this man has not been named as a suspect. That is the reality. So regardless if you are hearing this being reported on other channels, even news stations, which I think are walking a very fine line when they say, East Idaho News, who I respect very much, but at the same time, they're saying things like second person tied to Dylan Rounds brought up on federal gun charges. Okay, it's sort of misleading. It sort of leads you to believe Chase Venstra is a suspect, and that is not correct at this time. Cynthia?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we were talking about this a lot earlier, but the one thing that we did notice was that discrepancy. And the reason why the May 12th date seemed odd is because it was all under the, what was it? It was called the fact and circumstances section. So there were like a certain amount of points. And I think it was fact 5 that said May 12th, 2022. But then if you read further on in that same section, fact 11 and 21 said June 12th, 2022. So it just seemed really like it might have been a typo, the May 12th, but
right, because
we still don't know. Unless we hear back.
By the way, with Dylan. But just to lay this out for you guys, this is what the court documents against Chase Venstra are saying. Let me bring that up really quick.
I don't think it's ethical, though, for anyone to name him as a suspect unless he's officially named a suspect.
And he's not. Not yet.
No.
Here's where the discrepancy comes for us. When we started reading the facts and circumstances, it's this detective that wrote this up. He says, based on my knowledge and experience and on information received from other individuals, including law enforcement officers, as well as their reports, as set forth below, I have learned the following. In April 2017, Chase Montgomery Ventra was convicted in Utah's 3rd District Court of 2 counts of larceny, third-degree felonies. Based on my training and experience, because Venstra entered pleas of guilty to felonies, he would be aware that he has been convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year. Your affiant knows that on May 12th, 2022, investigators with the Davis County Sheriff's Office and Box Elder Sheriff's Office executed a residential search warrant on Venstra's known residence in West Point City in conjunction with a homicide investigation. So again, May 12th is prior to Dylan Rounds going missing. Okay? So if they executed this search warrant on that date in conjunction with a homicide investigation, is Chase Venstra being looked at for a completely unrelated homicide that has nothing to do with Dylan. And then it says inside of Venstra's motorhome were 2 firearms. Okay, that's what they found. They found a second firearm. Well, I just said that. But then here we go. So, Chase was arrested on June 4th. So he's in jail on June 4th, and he was making calls to a person that they are naming Witness A. So this detective was reviewing jail calls from Venstra to a third party, Witness A. During those phone calls, Venstra directed Witness A to enter Venstra's motorhome and remove items to include duffel bags, currency, drug paraphernalia. Witness A confirmed to Venstra over jail calls that he did enter the motorhome and remove items. So Venstra's calling up with Witness A from jail, not too smart there, but he's doing that and saying, hey, get those duffel bags, get those guns, get that stuff out. And on those phone calls that this detective listened to, he heard Witness A say, hey, okay, I did it. So it says a search warrant was executed on Witness A's residence on June 12th. So we sort of had this back and forth of, did they typo the May 12th, or is this another homicide not related to Dylan? Because on June 12th, on Witness A's residence, they also, executed a search warrant. Witness A confirmed he had removed a duffel bag out of the motorhome upon Venstra's request, and eventually stated to your affidavit that Venstra had also transported multiple firearms and ammunition to Witness A's residence prior to Venstra's arrest, and requested Witness A store the firearms in his residence. So Chase sort of tells the cops like all the guns that he has. When they go to Witness A's house, they find all of them but one. And then Witness A says, yeah, so there's this crawl space like by my kid's room, and he could have gone in there and put a gun in there. So the cops go in there, they find the gun, and then Witness A says, yeah, okay, fine, I am the one that put that in there. So there's 2 times in this that Witness A lies and then tells the truth. And we are heavily speculating on who Witness A could be, with the Witness A, Robert Aviles, last name Aviles, letter A, could be him. And that is speculation. That is not fact. So take that as you will. But Witness A, was interviewed. He did tell them the truth that he actually put those guns there.
You know why, in my opinion, if I may interject real quick?
Yeah.
Why I think that it definitely could be Aviles is because I don't recall exactly what the date was that Kurt Wadsworth or other witnesses said that his house was searched. Do you remember that? Where they went there looking, or was Chase there at that time when like the police came there looking for Dylan because of that whole like Dylan being held hostage thing? Do you know what that date was?
I do not. I know that was early on, and I know that Kurt was told by not necessarily a family member, but sort of. It was like a tarot reader. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it was really, really early on, and he relayed that information to the family, and take tarot.
It may have been around the 31st. Now that I come to think of it, so I don't think that lines up. I thought I had a theory there, but
Oh.
hey, we're all wrong sometimes.
Yeah, well, this is why it's good to discuss things, discuss facts, and then discuss theories. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. But, the facts are facts. So I do find it really interesting that on May 12th, prior to Dylan even going missing, they're executing the search warrant on Chase Ventra's residence. Then this detective is listening in on Ventra's phone calls. Here's him talking to this Witness A. Here's him telling Witness A, get the duffel bags, get all the stuff out. Witness A does that. They have all this. But again, we just have to be clear that he is not been named a suspect yet. And I'll say yet because we don't know if that is coming or if that is in the future. But as of this moment, no.
And if we do hear that, like, you guys will be the first to know. Like, if
exactly.
we can find that out, like, before anyone else, we'll let you guys know.
we will definitely report on that. But I do want to put up this picture, and I find this picture very difficult to look at. Cynthia, I know you do as well, but it's just, oops, I don't know if I meant to do that. Let's see. I didn't mean to make you really tiny. I'm trying to move my screen around so it'll be as big as possible to show this picture. Is that covering the whole screen, Cynthia?
It's covering a good amount. I mean, it's visible for sure.
Okay. So here is Brenner. Here is Dylan. It has been said by the family that Brenner was wearing Dylan's hat. And also that the hat has been sent away for DNA analysis, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So a lot of people thought this was like a Jack Daniels hat. It's not. It's a John Deere hat. I hate this man's face. I have to say that.
Just
I have
the
to
look
be
on his face.
professional, but I hate his face.
And that was taken right after Dylan went missing. So I'm like, where was he when that was taken? It just seems weird to me. He has that smirk on his face. Maybe it's just because we know like he's potentially wearing Dylan's hat. The family says it's Dylan's hat, so
it looks a whole lot like the hat that Dylan had on. I mean,
it definitely does.
You know, it's disgusting. If he was actually had the audacity to be walking around in Dylan's hat, I'm at a loss for words because I just get angry when I look at this picture. It just like incites anger in me. So Cynthia, please take over for a minute so I can, like punch him in my brain real quick.
Do you mind if I get into the stuff about James Brenner, the other stuff that we found?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Let me try to pull that up real quick. I did actually have it up, but I gotta do that again. Oh, no, what am I doing here? What is that? That was weird. Oh, that's my own YouTube telling me that I'm live. Okay, great. Like I didn't know that.
So while she finds that, we found that there are new charges. Well,
Yeah.
they're not new charges. He is basically being charged with things from the distant past, but it's aggravated assault, and he has court on the 11th of July. And we also pulled up the Utah code that explains what aggravated assault is. Essentially, what it is the only thing that distinguishes it from attempted murder is intention or intent. So you guys will see as soon as we go through the Utah code that it says that it's so severe that it could potentially cause death and include a bunch of disturbing things that are necessary to even meet that threshold of having committed aggravated assault.
Yeah, he James Brenner, very violent person.
Mm-hmm.
I think on 3 different occasions he attempted murder. So can you see this, Cynthia?
I can. I don't think that that's the one that I was hoping that we're going to look at, though. It has yellow highlighting on it.
Let's see if this is the one. Let me see if this is the one. Not seeing the yellow highlighting, but I thought this was the one. It's not. That is, what is that? Because these are the ones that you just sent me.
I wonder if I can. Oh, do you see that? I just put it into the presentation. Do you see that on your end or no?
Yeah, I gotta get rid of this screen to see. No, I don't.
See, I was hoping that it would be like cross compatible where I could upload something and then we could pull it up. It allows me to put it into the presentation box, but I guess you can't see it. So,
In private chat? No.
do you want me to try to email it again real quick?
Yeah, because those are the last emails that I got. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Um, but those are the last emails that I
Thank you
got.
for being patient, you guys. We thought we had this all set up,
Yeah,
but I may have sent
it's,
the wrong attachment.
tech is something sometimes. I'll start looking at some questions while you go ahead and email that, Cynthia.
Okay.
So let's see here. Oh, is Ray in here? Hi, Ray. If Jim was squatting, he probably can't afford a JD tractor, but Dylan could.
I
Well,
was thinking that when I saw that comment, I was like, I don't think he would have been able to afford a tractor.
yeah, no, if he's squatting. And, I think we mentioned in the last live stream that Dylan was sort of in the process of buying that land that grain shed sat on.
Yeah, there was
So,
a prior comment that I think he was responding to, and she said, when my husband and I bought a John Deere tractor, we got a hat with it. So I think that's what he meant by that, and that's what I was thinking when I saw her comment. I was like, I don't think he could afford a John Deere tractor.
is
And
Brenner a convicted felon? um, yeah, he was not allowed to have guns. So, um, the answer is yes.
so far, I think it's like well over 8 felonies.
Yeah, he has quite a few. I mean, his record is frightening. You can definitely tell that he's a violent person. And Cynthia, you were talking earlier when we were talking off the air about you know the choking. Um,
Yeah. So did you get that email that has the Utah code for aggravated
I'm
assault?
gonna look on my phone before I pull it up on screen.
Okay.
Uh,
And then I
I
just emailed that James Brenner document over again. I'm gonna stay
yeah,
logged in just in case.
I believe that's what I just have pulled up, isn't it?
Okay, maybe
Count
I'm
one,
sending
count two, and count three.
yeah, I think I'm sending the wrong thing. Let me
Okay,
it should be highlighted in yellow. Oh no, I sent the new one this time
I see
where
it.
it says
Okay.
it's highlighted in yellow.
Yep, I got it.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna open it now. Whenever my email decides to upload real quick, here we go. Um, Microsoft Edge. Can we make changes to your computer? I'd rather you not, but I can't afford if you don't. So sure, go ahead and make your changes. It drives me nuts. But here we're gonna share the screen once again. Cynthia, me and you are gonna get real tiny in the corner here, and then I'm going to pull this up. So yes, Microsoft, make your little changes. So here we go. And you can see that well, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
So
little bit small, but it's fine. I
okay.
think as long as you like read it off, everyone will get the gist of it.
Yeah. So well, you can go ahead and read it off if you would like.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna pull it up in a different screen, so it's a little bit bigger, but
Okay.
so at least I can read it.
Yep.
So he doesn't have any bail set. Up at the top, right next to where his last name is highlighted, it says bail, and then it's just empty. It's blank. It says aggravated assault from February 20th of 2021. And his court date in the top right corner, it says July 11th, 2022. So on Monday. And then at the bottom, the second one is just in reference to the firearm charges that we're all aware of.
Right.
And the court date is the same.
And we have to wonder, who was this aggravated assault on? Um, that this is showing very, very recently, a little over a year ago, that he had aggravated assault on someone. And then he has court again on Monday for this.
He's
Um,
known by locals though to be like a hothead and to fight with people.
right. And I was told by Kurt, and I don't think that he would mind me saying this, that you know Jim and Dylan just did not get along. I heard that very early on in this case, and Kurt confirmed that. And something that he said to me really stuck out. And he said, Jim didn't like Dylan parking in that grain shed. And I've never left the grain shed. I have been there from day one. I am stuck at that area. That whatever happened, whatever the reason that happened, is something about that grain shed. His boots being there, Dylan's gone. But I'm just wondering what aggravated James Brenner to the point that he hated Dylan parking in this grain shed. Dylan was bold, said to not really back down from people or things. So with him and James like getting into these little spats, James not doing or James not liking how Dylan did things. Again, it was said that Dylan was in the process of buying this land. And, you can imagine a man like James Brenner, who obviously didn't have a lot in life, seeing the little bit that he did have kind of disappear. Because if the grandfather Dylan's grandfather is said to be, good friends for quite a long time with James Brenner. So it could be that, and this is speculation on my part, but it could be, that the grandfather didn't really want to tell James Brenner to like get off the land, but maybe a solution to that problem is Dylan buys the land and Dylan tells him himself, get gone. That could be something. Or, was James Brenner doing something inside of that grain shed that he did not want Dylan in there, or parking his truck in there? And another person brought up an interesting thing to me, and they said, was there power running to that grain shed? That would be interesting to know. What exactly was James Brenner's issue with Dylan parking inside of this grain shed? Was it just that they didn't get along and he didn't like Dylan? Was it the sort of thing where, when you don't like someone, like sort of anything they do, like gets on your nerves? Was it that sort of thing, or was there something much more going on? We have to speculate on that. So, Cynthia?
I feel that it most closely aligns with, Dylan was supposed to be heading out to the grain shed around 6:50 something in the morning. That's pretty early. And apparently James Brenner wasn't working at that time. So I'm like, was he in his trailer? Like, I don't know if he drinks. Did he maybe party the night before, or was he sleeping in? And I'm sure that like that road is probably really loud because of how close he was to the grain shed. So like, it makes me wonder if some kind of exchange happened. Like, did he wake up and come out of his trailer and ask Dylan, like, in a rude way, can you come back later? Like, why are you doing this right now? And from what we've learned about Dylan is he would have stood up for himself and probably told him to F off. Like, I have permission to be here and I'm buying this land. And maybe something along the lines of like, you're not going to be here anymore. Just like you were saying,
Yeah.
So that definitely could have initiated a physical fight between them. And maybe it went too far.
Yeah. And I do wonder, I've gone back and forth, was this premeditated? Because when you look at the whole of the situation, the Wadsworths were in Montello having this big family get together for a Memorial Day weekend. And a bunch of them were there. Dylan was invited to that, but he didn't go. He showed up on the 27th in the morning and talked to a couple people, and I know who those people are. And they were talking to him about his truck and stuff like that. he was invited to this get together with the Wadsworths, but he didn't come. He said, I have to go and I got to get up early and I got to do my grain and blah, 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 blah. So, I look at Kurt at this point as sort of a protector of Dylan. And if James Brenner was aware of this, little get together that Kurt wasn't going to be there that weekend, Dylan's going to be there by himself. Did he take that opportunity to do what he's been wanting to do to Dylan? Because we already know that James Brenner is a very violent man. That could be a possibility. I will tell you guys, and I don't think that they would mind me sharing this either. But when I did share the information that James Brenner was being named as a suspect, some of the Wadsworths were very surprised. They were just sort of like, really, that's crazy. Because off air, Kurt and I had talked quite extensively, and I asked him about James Brenner, and he said, like when I was being interviewed, he said, I told them, hell no, he don't have nothing to do with this. He said, but now that I'm thinking about it, he goes, they could have. And then he went into, he really got pissed off when Dylan would park in his grain shed, and he didn't like that. And, Dylan got really sick of him having the keys to that, and Dylan took the fence down and stuff like that. And this is prior to Brenner, being named a suspect at all. So I feel like this is coming as a shock to a lot of people that were, close to Dylan and around this case. I especially feel for Dylan's grandparents, mainly because, James Brenner was a friend of Dylan's grandfather. And, it was said that he was sort of like keeping an eye on Dylan. So there's another factor, with Dylan living out there, he is an adult at 19, very, very young adult. But with him feeling like, he's got the world at his feet and he could do what he wants. And then you might have James Brenner reporting back to his grandfather, like, oh, he's a pain in the ass, or he's doing this, or he's doing that. That could have caused friction with them as well. I'm hearing like background noise, Cynthia. Do you have a Roomba or something like cleaning your carpets?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll turn my fan off.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was. But there's different, speculations here that we've brainstormed and thought about and have gone back and forth about of what would call, and some people are just psychopaths. Sometimes they don't have a good enough reason. In my opinion, you never have a good enough reason to kill anyone. You just don't. So, but I just speculate on the why. Why James Brenner? Why? What did Dylan do to you that was so terrible? Or why did you feel so threatened that you needed to do something to Dylan? And this person, Modest Man, says, I have that same hat. I live here in Utah, and I got it from a thrift shop. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's a John Deere hat and looks similar. I think he meant to theirs. Okay. Thank you, Modest Man. And then Modest Man is also saying, Dylan being 19, maybe Jim Brenner hated that this kid was pushing him around, potentially. Absolutely. There has to be something going on between Jim B and Dylan. Yes. And this is what we're speculating on. What pissed him off so badly that you felt the need that you had to do something violent to him or make him get gone or make him disappear. Why was Dylan such a threat to you? I understand that there was, friction and there were disagreements, but what pushed this man over the edge to say, this kid's got to go, like indefinitely go? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure the feds definitely know, obviously, a lot more than we do, but just looking at court documents and the things that we are able to piece together from, witnesses that I've interviewed, Cynthia with her fantastic research, we're looking at all of it of the why and why this could have happened. So Go
And then
ahead.
how close Jim's trailer was to the grain shed. Just, 300 feet. That's so close. Dylan's boots were found. So like the grain shed was like here, and then the boots were found back here, and then the trailer's over here. So it was kind of like triangular, but all like about 300 feet, it looked like, in proximity. So it's just, I feel like everything's centered around the grain shed and that trailer. So
Ground zero for sure.
yeah, there's no question to me that he was involved, and he's been named an official suspect. So
Yeah. And they're not going to come out and say that for no reason. But I'm still waiting to see if there are other people involved. And I still believe that. It doesn't make it fact, but I still believe that. But we will have to see what comes out. But we have to be clear that Taste Venstra has not been named as an official suspect as of this moment. And I think that with that joint press release by Box Elder County and the FBI, they were sort of making that clear. Like, here's who we've named as a suspect. We are not going to comment further, but this is the suspect as of now. So,
well, once those court documents went out and then the news started covering it and then everyone on YouTube started covering it, I felt like they kind of needed to put it out just to, put anything to rest.
yes. And so Sam Ellis is saying suspect generally are not officially named until investigators have sufficient evidence. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to state something that serious without something. And again, Cynthia pointed out earlier, but the physical evidence and the forensic data in that joint press release, just those are the two main words to read in that, especially the forensic data. And with us hearing that Dylan left a voicemail for the landowner that the grain shed sat upon, and they were saying that they were unable to retrieve that. I think the landowner. That doesn't mean that the feds did not retrieve that. Was that James Brenner that left the voicemail, or was it Dylan? Was it James Brenner on Dylan's phone? I think they've probably retrieved a lot because forensic data is that. So, let's see the next comment. Do you think there are more people in that town that know something? Quite frankly, there could be one that I've sort of had my eye on. Not going to name him at this moment, but I do think that Kurt Wadsworth has been the most. He's helped with piece things together of just sort of how things were out there and stuff like that. I'm very grateful that he spoke with me because he gave a lot of information. He really did. So, and I want to say this. There was a commenter. I don't want to give you too much attention, but there was a commenter saying, I know you paid for that interview, and they were sort of yakking off at the mouth. No, I did not. Just to be very clear, there was not a penny exchange between myself or Kurt Wadsworth. Not that there's anything wrong with paying for interviews. The media does that all of the time. But in this instant, no, I did not pay Kurt anything. He never asked for anything. So there's that, just to clear that up. But anything more, Cynthia, that you want to add? I get tongue-tied, and you always pick up right where I leave off.
No, I don't have anything to add to any of that.
Anything?
I feel like there was more that we were going to present, though. Wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. Overload of information for sure, especially with all of this movement in the last day or so.
Yeah.
There's been a lot, and I do think that it's telling that they unseal James's stuff and Venstra's, but clearly naming James Brenner as a suspect, but not Venstra. Yeah, that's a little telling to me. Why? Why? And I think many of us have said, this is not a one-man job. Could it be, though? It could
I
be.
think it could be. I really do, just because of Jim's size. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he looks pretty stocky and pretty hefty, and God rest Dylan's self, but I don't think, especially if Brenner was armed, I don't. I think Dylan probably most likely, just hearing about his personality, that he most likely put up a fight, a big one. And
Someone, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say someone's grabbed a screenshot of James Brenner's height and weight from the Weber County page. Do you want me to send that to you?
Yes, please.
He's 5'10" and 235 pounds, so he's not 5'1".
Wow. So that was way off.
That
Yeah,
that sounded a little bit off to me from the beginning, but
yeah, because what were we hearing? 5'1", 5'10", 5'7",
And
and
then the picture that you put up of him, that picture, that's about 5'10", because the horse's head, he's taller than the horse's head, and the horse, horses are big, so like the top of a horse's head is I would say minimum 5'5". And
yeah, and I have had people, even in Zav Girl, if you watch, hi Zav Girl, but people say, like, is that the real picture of Brenner? It is. This was a personally taken picture. Okay, so the person that gave me that picture has been a source for me from the beginning, and they've yet to lie to me. So far, there was absolutely no reason for them to send that picture for no reason. So yes, that was James Brenner, and me and Cynthia were really looking over that picture, and just
it to you, that screenshot. So just so you can see it for yourself.
I'm gonna.
It says he's 59 on there. He's not 59. He's 58. I don't know.
Yes. Sam Ellis, do you think Dylan was dismembered? Cynthia, I'll let you answer that while I pull up this email.
Oh, I didn't hear the question. What was it?
It's up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm not seeing current comments on this screen. Hold on, I'll go back to the YouTube.
Really? Oh, no, wrong. There's Rayperd. And Ray is saying in his arrest record, it said he was 42 inches.
Okay, so I guess it just depends on. Can you clarify where that arrest record came from? Because I noticed I've seen a lot of people using sources like Intellis or other like pay websites. Those are not reliable for several reasons. They can be misconstrued. So when I do my research, I'll find like a base point, like a birth date. For example, his birth date was in the documents. I did redact them on my channel. I'm going to unredact them because now he's a suspect. I didn't feel like at that time it was okay to put his birth date out there. That was just for the firearm charges. But it has to match the birth date. There's also, I think, 162, because I saw the picture of him, or the picture of him that was like a mugshot, and someone was saying he's 5'1", and I clicked on it and it took me to Intellis, and there were 162 results for James Brenner. So
there's a lot.
There are several points of like information, including middle name, middle initial, potentially address, birth date, all of those things factor in. And then I go straight to the source. It has to be directly from a county or state source. I don't pay for information. And if I can't find the information, then I don't feel it's 100% reliable. So that's just, I don't know if that answers the question or not. I don't think that was his actual record.
I'm not getting the. I
It did
didn't get
just
the
say
email.
James Brenner. It didn't have his initial. So there's 162 James Brenners out there.
A whole bunch.
Probably way more than that, actually.
Okay, so here's the Utah Criminal Code of Aggravated Assaults. What really stood out to me, because James Brenner had these charges, was the choking, applying pressure to the neck or throat of an individual, or obstructing the nose, mouth, or airway of an individual. And Cynthia, early on as well, pointed out, she was like, with the single drop of blood on his boots, it's very possible that he was choked out. And I think with Brenner as well, Cynthia, that he liked to sneak up on people. He sort of liked to ambush. So, picturing in my head him coming up behind Dylan and possibly, choking him, causing a nosebleed where a single drop of blood. Again, this is pure speculation, you guys. We just have looked at stuff and we're speculating. Okay. We again, to make that clear, but it's a possibility. So thank you, Angelo. Angelo says, I've been following this case for a month now, and I want to commend you ladies for just stating the facts and not saturating the airways with nonsense. You are welcome. We've gotten quite sick of that ourselves, so we just tune out. So that's what we do. But okay. Unlike PI Jim Terry coming on 5 times a day and just being a YouTube tampon. Well, that's quite the comment. Okay. I really would prefer. I appreciate.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
Yeah, I really would prefer to just leave him completely out of this stream. In my opinion, he's completely irrelevant to this case. He's been fired. He's been trying to be served a cease and desist. I'm just not really interested in anything Jim Terry, because the facts are not following the narrative that he laid out for everyone to, gossip, suck off of. The facts are what we are looking at now, with these releases and things like that. So, Rayburn.
Are you gonna pull up the Utah code for aggravated assault?
Yes, I can definitely do that, Cynthia.
I think it just kind of like builds the picture for like how bad this assault that he committed had to have been. There's simple assault and then aggravated assault. And aggravated assault is right up there with attempted murder. The only difference is the intention or intent.
Right. So it's sort of like committing a really bad crime against someone. Your intent might not be to murder, but what you're inflicting on that person could
potentially kill them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, Cynthia. And we're going to be two tiny little things down here, but let's see. Not that. This. So it drives me crazy that my computer does that. But here's that. This is the Utah Code, Utah Criminal Code, Chapter 5, Offenses Against the Individual, Assault and Related Offenses, Aggravated Assault Penalties. So, Cynthia, do you want to read that, or you want me to read it?
I can read it. I just need to pull it up over on my end. All right. So we're going to be paying attention to 2 because that's describing what's classified as being aggravated assault.
I just want to interject for a second. The reason that we're looking at this is because James Brenner has court on Monday for this.
Yes.
Yes.
So for section 2 and then A, and then the first one says attempts with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. makes a threat accompanied by a show of immediate force or violence to do bodily injury to another, or commits an act committed with unlawful force or violence that causes bodily injury to another or creates a substantial risk of bodily injury to another. And it's not or, it's and includes in the actor's conduct under subsection 2A the use of a dangerous weapon, any act that impedes the breathing or the circulation of blood of another individual by the actor's use of unlawful force or violence that is likely to produce a loss of consciousness by A, applying pressure to the neck or throat of an individual, or B, obstructing the nose, mouth, or airway of an individual. And then the third one would be other means or force likely to produce death or serious bodily injury. So for section 2 and then A and B, where it lists like the 3 separate things, he had to have done 2 of those things together, because it's and, not or.
Exactly.
So
And mulling over these
yeah.
things, it's very important to pay attention to the wording of stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
why Cynthia keeps drilling in the and, not or.
Yeah.
So yes, go ahead, Cynthia. You're doing a great job.
Oh, I'm done. That was it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's where he you know, caused bodily harm to someone and had like a gun or strangled someone, basically cut off their air supply.
Yes. Yes.
Or caused like great bodily harm.
Yeah, and I really zeroed in when they started talking about basically choking, applying pressure to the neck or throat, because that's something that you theorized very early on that, he could have been choked, causing that single blood drop onto his boot. Another very good person that I talked to, I just referred to him as the detective, but he had a very similar thing that he, thought that Dylan could have been choked out or incapacitated in some way. And so with Brenner, this is unrelated to Dylan, that he will be going to court on Monday, but it does show that he has these violent tendencies. He committed this act in February of 2021. Prior to Dylan even going missing. And I don't believe this is, about Dylan, but he did this to another person. So on Monday, he will be going to court for this charge. So it's not out of the realm whatsoever that he did the exact same thing to Dylan.
And strangulation, unfortunately, it's not uncommon for that to cause like a nosebleed, not like profuse blood, but a small nosebleed.
Right.
So that's where I was theorizing that might be where the blood on the boots came from.
Yes, and I thought that was a very good theory. And hi, caseworker, how are you? Modest Man is saying that Duty Ron had some great info as well. You both have some great insight. Yeah, listen, me and Cynthia, again, we've bounced ideas and we have talked extensively about this case behind the scenes. And I think she has, just done phenomenal research. And then with the interviews and people that I have talked to, we sort of put that together and, go through the different things. So I do really like her theory with the choking, and the detective sort of had the same sort of theory. So Raybird is good theory, Cynthia, and it definitely is. Knowing now, all of this stuff about Brenner, because from the beginning, I was like, this is not a one-man job. Like, I feel like Dylan had to be ambushed in some way. But it is entirely possible that James Brenner is the only suspect. We just don't know. Again, if he was armed, he's a bigger guy. We're hearing now that he was 5'10". And again, with the picture that I posted that came from a person there, it was a personal picture. When Cynthia and I were looking at it, we were like, this guy is like up to this horse's head. I mean, granted, the horse's head was bowed, but he's still as tall as that. So I don't believe that he was exactly 5'1". And then we had Lynette on yesterday, who was in court with Brenner. And, she said more like 5'6", 5'7", somewhere in that area that she thought that he was. So yes, he looks like a very big, stocky guy. And I honestly just, sadly, I do not think that Dylan ever saw this coming. And I don't
Well,
think,
when you asked me earlier, because we were talking about this before we went live, we've been talking off and on all day, but
yeah.
Jess asked me earlier, do you think it's possible that he could have done this alone? And I said yes, just based on the fact that I have a 17-year-old son that is around the same size as Dylan, and his father is around the same size as James Brenner. And I have no doubt in my mind, obviously his father would never hurt him, but what I'm saying is like, just for like a size comparison, I have no doubt in my mind that someone his father's size could easily overpower my son and carry him. So it's just like, if Dylan was around the same size, James Brenner definitely could have done this on his own if necessary. Maybe there was a fight and then it went too far and he covered it
I
up.
think we really need to dig into the why. Why was he so bothered with Dylan, so bothered with that grain shed, so bothered with Dylan parking his truck in there? There's a lot of agitation with that. And again, why? Was it just an annoyance to him? Or was there something more going on with that grain shed and James Brenner that we're unaware of? And Caseworker is saying Above and Beyond. Cynthia, if you don't know what that channel is, it's Above and Beyond ancestor readings, I believe. Her name is Willow. I do watch her channel, just so you guys know. But in her first reading, and I did watch that, that Dylan was choked. I don't remember that part. I have to be honest, but I will go back and watch that. She is a tarot reader that is just eerily accurate.
Text me the link to her channel because I want to check that out.
I definitely will. I'll definitely. I think she did a second updated reading. I don't know if she's done anything more, but I remember, from what I remember from her read, she talked about a trickster being involved. Assets was at the very top. I remember that, and then a grandparent's card with thank you. Sort of Dylan, sort of saying thank you to them, but like I'm getting chills on my leg. It sort of upsets me because again, I just can't imagine what is going through these grandparents' head with the grandfather being friends with James Brenner, being the person that the grandmother called and said, hey, I haven't heard back from Dylan, him saying, oh, don't worry. And here he is, a suspect in Dylan's disappearance. Being named by the federal government as that. That has to be something very difficult for them to wrap their heads around and sort of come to terms with. And I'm sure it's very painful for them. So gossip or fact is saying pure jealousy. We speculated on that as well. Was he just very jealous of Dylan? Dylan being this young man with this farm and basically his whole life ahead of him, James Brenner squatting in a trailer next to a grain shed that he didn't own anything of. And if Dylan was in the process of buying this land, it's entirely possible that Dylan would have said, goodbye, get gone. This is my land now. Goodbye. Did James Brenner see that flash before his eyes and say, no, this kid's got to go? It's possible. Caseworker is saying, I think it was Willow. Yes, her name is Willow. Yes, and she is a tarot reader. Yep. So let's see this comment here. I don't know who this is from. Bird. I heard Ty Corbin say Brenner attacked someone at gas station last year. I think Brenner buried him with a backhoe if he did it alone. Well, we do know that Kurt's backhoe was out there because Kurt was helping Dylan dig holes for his irrigation system. So it would have been out there. I don't know if he would have been able to use it or not. But yeah, Gossip or Fact is saying, Jim had nothing. Dylan had so much at a young age. Yeah, we've definitely talked about that for sure. Ray Bird, I thought the same thing. My hubby is 5'10", 240 pounds, and my 21-year-old son-in-law is the size of Dylan. He had to carry him when he got hurt on a job site, and my husband had no problem carrying him. Yes, I think what Cynthia said about that is very, very relevant because same thing. I have a 17-year-old son, and his father is shorter than him, but he would have no problem, taking him down, taking him out, or anything like that. So I think with Dylan's boldness, I think he absolutely would have fought back. I firmly believe that Dylan fought probably up until he could not fight anymore, which makes me sad. I don't want to get emotional. I get emotional. I get really involved with cases, but I just look at this young man, like his entire life just ahead of him, and it's seeming that was snuffed out by a really awful human being, and possibly more human beings. But at this time, we have to focus on James Brenner because he is the person named as a suspect officially as of now. So, Cynthia, if you want to talk for a minute, I'm going to take a potty break, and you do a great job of talking. So you don't say 75,000 times like I do. So
I totally do. Have you watched my videos on my channel? I'm like, yeah, and over and over again. I get nervous
when you host.
I'm feeling more comfortable.
Yeah, and you will. Caseworker, you're old enough to have a 17-year-old. Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm 41. So just so you know. But yeah, potty break for me, Cynthia. And if you want to talk about anything or theorize with any of the chat, feel free.
All right. I'll go ahead and go through the comments and just respond to some of those.
Okay.
I'm just scrolling through real quick to see if there were any that we missed. Modest Man, you were saying from the court records, you read Jim had a bad temper. Yes. Several people in the town, as we were saying earlier, said that he has, because he's still living, he has a really bad temper. And then he has this aggravated assault. He has moved around so much, though, that it's very possible there are even more violent records that I haven't found yet. He's been in Nebraska, North Dakota, Maine, Maryland. I've heard Illinois. I haven't found those records myself yet. And then Nevada and Utah, South Dakota as well. So he's been all around the country. I've looked in several of those places and found several of the documents, but so it was just the malicious shooting so far and the aggravated assault that, obviously he's violent, but there could definitely be more out there I haven't found yet.
I don't know what comment you were answering, but I'm just listening.
Oh, I went way back. I went back to when Modest Man said that he read from court records that Jim had a bad temper.
Yes. And that's not even something that I read in the court records, but just again from early
Global,
on.
yeah, yeah.
I had heard that, so from different sources and stuff. So let's see here. Grown adult would want to hurt a 19-year-old kid. Yeah, this is a struggle for me and Cynthia, and I am really glad that we went live, even though it's super late here on the East Coast. But I am, because I feel like you guys are getting to theorize with us and sort of hear the conversations that we have behind the scenes. And this is definitely something that I have said, like, what in the world would this man want to hurt this very young man for? And it makes me sick. So just to think of Dylan's family and his loved ones, and his friends, and how they must feel. Um, I can't imagine it because I've never been in their shoes, but just my empathy, it hurts me for them and for Dylan. It's so unnecessary. It overtakes me a little bit. So Cynthia, you don't know this, but sometimes when I get really upset with cases, I will cry a little bit, and I try not to do that on camera, but it's really bothersome to just think of what this kid had in his life, and how knowledgeable he was with farming, um, and to know that he was most likely snuffed out. That's probably a bad word to use, but it feels like that, like snuffing out the light of this person is so incredibly wrong. Um, I'm gonna shut my camera for a second again. I'm sorry. I do get upset with thinking about things like that,
Yeah,
which
it's
is weird, but yeah.
I feel like we have that commonality of being parents and knowing what it's like. This is something else that we had talked about on the phone is like, everyone can have empathy, whether you have kids or not, or, sympathy and compassion for a situation. But when you're a parent and you know what it's like to love a child, and how life-changing having children is, like having a child changes your entire perspective on the world, and then to raise this child and have them taken from you, it's terrible. And he, it's not, sometimes sad things happen, like people die from cancer or in car accidents. Those are horrible things as well, but I feel like it adds another level of trauma to it when your child's murdered, and also like they don't know where he's at, they can't even lay him to rest. It's just, it's sad.
I think that's what we hear from families over and over and over again with sorry, I have my mic muted, but I think that's what we hear from families over and over again with missing loved ones, is that it's the not knowing. It's the not knowing where they're at. They cannot lay them to rest properly. There's no, this is making me emotional. It just really is, just thinking about that, because I do have a 19-year-old daughter. I have a 17-year-old son, and just thinking about them just being gone in the world, and then there's no place for me to go to even sit and just cry or talk to them. Um, One of these a-holes, and I'm going to say that, sorry. But James Brenner, get to talking. Tell this family where this young man is. You've done enough. You're a disgusting human being. Even if you didn't actually kill Dylan, you still had some part in something. And even the things he's done prior are disgusting. So, the least he could do is tell this family where this young man is, and let them lay him to rest properly. Um, I'm sorry. I'm going to get just angry and emotional. And this, it comes out that way. I try to be professional, I guess, but I still am only a human, and I am a mom, and I know I'm a parent. Like you said, I know what it feels like to have the love for your children, and there's no other love like it. Um, yeah, it just really bothers me, that there are so many evil humans in this world that, think over property or over grievances, that you could just take a life. Um, how dare you? You know, just how dare you?
And I really hope that if there is anyone out there that knows something, that they come forward to help his family put him to rest.
Yes.
Another thing that you and I were talking about on the phone earlier is the passing of loved ones. And you were talking about your father. And I think the only way that I could describe it, so if any of you, like maybe you don't have kids, but maybe you've lost a relative, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when your father passed away, was it kind of like a situation where someone notified you and you didn't believe it? It wasn't real until you saw them. So
I
it's kind of,
actually was with my dad when he took his last breath. He died of cancer.
mhm,
So it was over the course of a year that I watched my father slowly
mhm,
die. Um, but just, that, my dad is my dad. I loved him dearly. But if it was my child, I
yeah.
honestly could not tell you how I would react. I just feel like it would be something that I would never get over, that I would never fully come to terms with. It took me years and years and years to come to terms with my father's death. So, with it being a child, um, it just makes me emotional thinking about it. The family, that the people that loved Dylan, and there were definitely people that loved Dylan, even outside of the family. They're heartbroken. They are truly heartbroken, and just I'll say this, when I gave them the information, and this is Dylan's friends, they were shocked. They sort of didn't believe it that James Brenner was the guy, and I had to send them the documents, showing them that yes, he was named as this, and there was still this shock of, this is crazy, like we really can't believe this. So this most likely is a huge shock to the family, a huge shock to friends. I already know that because I have their reactions. Um, yeah, I'm upset at this point, Cynthia. I have to be honest with you. I'm looking at you to be more of the person that is not letting your emotions get the better of you, because they're getting the better of me at this point. Um, thank you, Rach. I appreciate that comment. So, Exhibit A, just subscribe. Thanks for all your hard work. Thank you, Exhibit A. I hope you do enjoy my channel, and I appreciate that. Um, Caseworker is responding to Rage, saying, I agree. More is accomplished once or twice a week on this show than those other shows that get on every night. Yeah. Um, I don't know how much I want to say about that, but it's, if you stay in the true crime community long enough, you will definitely start to see the people that look at things as a money grab, and people that actually want to report on cases. And I guess I will leave that there. So, what was that question? Yes, Sam. So happy that the FBI got involved. And I do have to shout out to the media, because I really think that if the media was not involved, that this Dylan could have been just another missing person. So media, again, double-edged sword. But in this case, I feel like they were instrumental in pushing this along. So um, thank you again, Exhibit A. I can't see exactly what Ray is saying. Uh, let's see, Ray, just amazing. Well, thank you, Ray. I think Cynthia is amazing as well. She is
Thank
empathic, kind, and compassionate. She is different, not just some YouTuber, but a friend. Yes, Ray. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that comment very much. Um, gossip or facts? I like your name, by the way, gossip or facts. If Jim did it alone, Dylan has to be close by, near the shed. I can't believe the amount of bashing of Dylan's mom is still out there, which is utterly disgusting, in my opinion. Cynthia and I have definitely had discussions about that for sure. Whether or not they were estranged, again, I'll say it again. Whatever happens with Justin and Candace is with Justin and Candace. But for the purpose of their son, I don't think anyone can say that these two people did not come together, joined in public at least, to find their child. Whatever goes on behind the scenes with that family is what it is. But for Dylan, they came together and they did present a united front that is still being presented now. And if you want to dig into all of their private and personal lives, go for it. I don't think that is going to help find Dylan in any way or present, anything useful to Dylan being missing. But if that floats your boat, I'm going to be side-eyeing you, but you can do what you want. I don't tell other people how to run their channels. It's not how I run mine. Okay. So, I'll be really frank with you guys. People that do that, I find them pretty deplorable. So, let's see. Rach Williams.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Rach Williams. Hi, Rach, by the way. Is saying, absolutely. I found out here weeks before anyone else knew about why Kurt told the parents he thought Dylan was held captive. Yeah. Hi, Mom. Modest Man. Does Cynthia have a channel? Yes, she does. You both have great info. I love seeing facts about finding this young man. Yes, Cynthia absolutely has a channel. And Ray has a wrench. Ray, I think you still have a wrench, I'm pretty sure. But would you mind grabbing the link to Cynthia's channel, if you could? And I will put Cynthia's channel. Her channel is fairly new, but like I keep saying, she's really great at research. But definitely give her channel a look and a like and a subscribe if you so feel so. I did, and it's why I have her on panel, because she's somebody that is not interested in the salaciousness and all of that. Very fact driven, and I really enjoy that about her. So
Yeah, we definitely find that commonality for
yes,
sure. That's what we connected on from day one.
yeah, we day one, we started to exchange information, and just look at all angles of things. And Cynthia is really great with documents and things of that nature. So I'm more better with talking to
Reaching
people.
out to people. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I said a long time ago that everyone in the true crime community can play a role. Whether you're a creator, whether you're someone that is really good at research, whether you're someone that's really good at talking to people, or whether you're a subscriber that is just really good at paying attention to things, and also finding things on your own. I do believe that there is a role for every single person. Unfortunately, I think there's people that love this more than they care about human beings. I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out who those people are. But it's, just, you got to watch what you watch, basically. So caseworker is saying, yes, I subscribed to Cynthia last night. She has some good info. She absolutely does. She absolutely does. So I don't know if Ray's still in here. Cynthia? No, you don't have a wrench. Let's see. So this is the name of Cynthia's channel. Cynthia, I want to spell it right. Sythin or
You
NIA.
spelled it right last time. Yeah,
I
it's
know.
Cynthia or Synthia. I don't know why I was reading it like that. And then
Yeah, somebody just said that.
Rovida. In the comments, somebody spelled it with a C.
Yeah. So the last is
Rovida. Yeah.
RIVO.
Rovida.
ROVO. Oh my gosh. Yeah. She's a
Synthia. Rovida.
Jesus. I just gotta look it up. I don't know. My brain is like over fried with emotion at this moment, and I'm like, okay, I got it. But this is the name of Cynthia's channel. It's just her name. So name of her channel, and yeah, you guys definitely go over and give her a look. And again, if you want to subscribe, definitely do that. She's a great person, and someone not so much interested in drama, but definitely more fact driven. And I think that's very important when you cover these sorts of cases. There's a lot of misinformation that will come your way. I've had a crazy amount of emails, and some of them have been very factual, and some of them are red herrings. You got to sort of sift through that kind of stuff, but Cynthia is just a person that popped out to me, and we've been talking ever since, and I just completely enjoy her. So Jerry, geez, I couldn't get it right either. Yeah. So that is the name.
Oh no, Jerry, you were right. The N's in the wrong
Oh,
place. Yeah, I just saw that.
well, geez, Cynthia, just be crime time with Cynthia. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's see. We will get this right eventually. There you are. Didn't I have it right? That wasn't right.
It's close.
Let me
So it's
see what
Synthia.
Oh, yeah. No N. Modesto man found it. Woo woo. You get the prize. Yeah, I guess I don't have any mods in here right now. Grandma's probably sleeping. I haven't seen Tamara. I haven't seen any of my mods in here, which is fine. There needs to be a link. The woman doesn't look like you. Well, she doesn't have her glasses on in it, so. But this is her. I mean, you're seeing her on your screen. I'm not sure what you need here, but yeah, I don't know why I keep putting an N in your name, Cynthia.
Oh no, there is an N. It's SYN.
What the heck? Okay. I'm just looking at your page. I'm just gonna type it straight out from what I'm looking at on my phone.
Oh, Ray Bird got it, I think.
Yes, thank you, Ray. Yes, okay. So there is the link to Cynthia's channel. And that is the proper spelling of her name, her channel name, and her name as well. So, um, this girl looks 10 years younger. Doesn't she look so wholesome? She looks so wholesome, Jerry. So somebody emailed it. I don't think I told you that, Cynthia. Somebody emailed me and was like, she looks like the most wholesome girl next door person ever. And I was like, well, who's to say she's not?
I'm not.
I'm not. Yeah, right. Yeah, none of us are perfect. Yeah. So
Yeah. We all have history.
well, of course we do. Um, oh, Ray's here, but her internet keeps freezing. That's okay, Ray. All the way up there in Canada. um, no, that's a compliment, Jerry. Cynthia looking a whole 10 years younger and positive that she appreciates that. That would put her at like 15. So I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, Jerry. Jerry, are you questioning Cynthia's picture or what is this? Jerry's usually really, really cool. But Jerry, right now I'm looking at a much younger lady than the woman in the thumbnail. Well, take the glasses off. In her thumbnail, she's looking fierce because with research, she is fierce. So there's that. It's sort of like the pictures of James Brenner. You know, I put out the very personal picture that my source gave me. Zav Girl put out a picture. The news is putting out another picture. Then we have another picture. So it's like, yeah, these people don't look the same. Jerry, it's the witchery, right? It's the
It's
whole
the lighting.
yes,
It's actually the lighting.
the lighting and the angles. You know,
Yeah.
um, Jerry, yes, beautiful either way, absolutely.
Thank you.
You know, and beauty is not only on the outside, of course.
No, exactly.
This person is definitely beautiful on the inside as well. So, gossip or fact? Do you know anything about the body that was found out there during the searches? Apparently, a 41-year-old man. Could this be linked to police searching Chase's place with reference to a homicide? Ooh, that is
I
a
never
great,
thought about that.
same. That is a
That's a
great
good idea.
question. I love theorizing with people, and this is what I mean by everyone has a role. I did not think of that. Neither did Cynthia. But bringing this up, we'll have to look into that. Thank you for saying that. So, caseworker is responding to Gossip or Fact and saying, I personally believe that is why Chase was arrested. Yeah, it does say, you know, May 12th that that search warrant was executed on his property in conjunction with a homicide. Again, if it was May 12th and that was not a typo, that homicide was clearly not Dylan Rounds. He was not even missing at that point. So, yeah, there's that. I
And if
really wish. Go ahead, Cynthia.
we get a response from the United States Attorney General, and they say that the date was a typo, that changes everything. Then
Yep.
that changes a lot of theory that we would have around it.
Absolutely. Which is why I called earlier, which is why Cynthia emailed earlier, because we were really wanting to know, did you guys typo this? Did you mean June 12th and not May 12th? But I do feel, Cynthia, again, and I said this to you earlier, that with them coming out with that press release later after we had called and emailed, and just stating James Brenner, it was sort of a message of, here's the information, here's what we're saying, and that's it. We're not going to comment or say anything else about this right now. So I don't know if that was our answer or not. I personally have not received an email back from them, and I know you haven't as well. So I sort of feel like that was them saying, here's what we put out. Take this as we're saying it, and we are not going to say anything else. So you can forget about your email
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Because the feds and stuff, they do like to keep things close to the chest, especially with this being an active investigation. They have not they have not found Dylan, obviously, and they're not done. So I even feel like we were lucky to see Brenner being publicly named. I honestly do at this stage because they still haven't laid charges against him, which is understandable that they haven't, because once you lay the charges, now the clock starts ticking. And they haven't done that yet, and it's good that they haven't, because it would be so much better for this case if they find Dylan. And again, James Brenner, you piece of crap, please tell everything that you know about Dylan. It is the very least that your disgusting self could actually do. So sorry, that is completely unprofessional. But again, I get mad. I just do. So sorry. But either
Well,
way.
sadly, if he was clearly selfish enough to have done what he did, if for sure, charges are eventually filed and we find out that he murdered Dylan, then as selfish as he is, he probably never would tell anyone. That's how those kind of people are. They're selfish, they don't care, and it's actually like holding something over the family's head and getting some kind of enjoyment out of it by not telling that information.
Yeah, and I just want to bring up this picture one more time, because look at that smirk. And
Yeah.
you brought that up, Cynthia, but just look at it. Look at his face. How dare you? If that is Dylan's hat, and I do believe there was someone that said that this hat was sent away for DNA analysis. The look on his face is like, ha, I got away with something. I'm getting away with something. Like, he just looks evil as hell to me in that picture. And again, this picture was taken after Dylan disappeared. Okay. Oops. I think I'm still on cam. um, I don't want to smoke on cam. So you know how I am, Cynthia. And my regular subscribers definitely know I don't smoke on camera. Smoke if you will. I feel like it's a little classless. So I choose not to do that. So whenever you see me shut my camera, that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I just feel like it's better left off screen. But I just can't tell you how much I have stared at this picture. Look at this.
Someone in the comments says that they can't see the picture, which is weird because I'm inside the studio and I can see it, but then when I went out over to YouTube, I can't see it.
Really?
Yeah, and someone just said we don't see the
picture.
That's so
I'm
weird.
sharing my screen.
Yeah, you are, but
yeah. So you can't see that?
Really weird. No.
Huh. What's up, StreamYard? Let's see. Maybe this will help. Let's see that for a second. I am sharing the entire screen. Can you see it now?
Hang on 1 second. Let me go back over. No.
Still not? Why? To unlock? No, nobody wants to upgrade to you. Restream. Huh. That's really strange, because I am sharing my entire screen, and this picture that I'm bringing up, it's taking up my entire screen. I can't, if I pull up my YouTube, you guys are just going to hear a lot of feedback. I'm going to turn my volume down and see.
It's super weird because it is showing your screen. It's showing a different window, it looks like.
Yeah, that's really weird. Yeah, I am looking at it on my phone, and it's not showing that picture for some reason. And
yeah, that's weird because when you just like zoomed out of it in the studio, I could
Yeah.
see that window that was showing on the YouTube side, like
Yeah.
in front of the picture. So that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Your
that is
picture,
really weird.
why is
I'm
it showing
sorry.
up?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was showing it. I'm not sure why it was not showing on my screen. Uh, everybody complain to Restream, please, because I don't know why it's not showing. I am sharing my entire screen with you guys, so I guess let me stop sharing and see if we can reshare, and if that will help. Maybe it will. But this picture is just crazy telling to me. Let me know if you guys can see it now. Again, Cynthia, yes, no.
Yes. Did you
Okay.
do anything different, or did
Um,
it just
I
magically pop up
stopped
now?
sharing, and then I went to resharing.
Okay.
So, but I'm looking at my phone and it's still not showing that. So okay, there it is. Yep, I see it. Okay, yeah. I mean, I cannot tell you guys, like, I just continually stare at this picture and I just want to like come through my screen at that man. Um, if that is Dylan's hat, and I believe that it is, being that it's being sent away for DNA analysis, or has been, with the joint statement saying that they have physical evidence, that hat could very much be it. Um, and I just find this gross, for lack of a better term. My anger sort of takes over with me, and I just lose words, and I just want to cuss this man, like, in every way possible. Like, how in the world could you possibly do this to a 19-year-old young man?
The family spokesperson confirmed that this picture was taken right after Dylan went missing, and
Yes,
that's his hat.
yes.
I just
And that family spokesperson, her name is it Jazz?
it's
I believe.
Jazz Girlson. Is it
Yeah.
Girlson pronounced like that? It's spelled like Girlson put together. So I would think
Yeah.
it's Girlson.
Um, I do have to be honest with that. When they initially, I guess, hired this person, and she said, oh, Dylan's property, everything's being roped off because of Burning Man, which is 7.5 hours away. I was like, that's not true. So, I don't know if they were just trying not to put anything out at that moment, but I don't think lying to the public helps. But with this picture, and him officially being named as a suspect, I feel like they definitely went ahead and put this out, with him wearing Dylan's hat. Supposedly, he was allegedly found in Dylan's hat, which just sort of infuriates me even more. Was it not enough what you did, but you also have to be wearing this young man's hats? I Yeah, anger is just the word.
I don't think we'll ever understand people like that, because you have to be like someone, or be like that, in order to understand why a person is the way that they are. But like, if you're not like that, then we will never understand why someone would do that. You know what I mean? To Dylan, or why people would do the terrible things that they do. So you can try
Well,
to understand and look at evidence and try to piece it together, but really it's difficult to understand what causes people to do evil things, because
sort of like a duper's delight. I got away
Mhm.
with something, or possibly what Raybird is saying, which is like a souvenir.
Yeah.
Um, Jerry is saying that she thinks that I think the hats are slightly different. Well, again, it's coming from the family spokesman that this was Dylan's hat, and it's being sent away for DNA.
And
Or,
it does
or
look like
has been.
the picture of Dylan, he's younger. We don't have any clarification on how old he was in that picture. So it's possible that the hat's a little bit more worn than it would have been, or than it was.
Yeah, and I think I see what Jerry is saying because the picture with Brenner seems to be a bit blurry, and it does look like sort of a different color. But
Yeah.
that could just be camera, it could be lighting, it could be all of that. If the family is coming out and saying this was Dylan's hat, he was found in this, um, wow, lead with love. That's a very interesting statement. They call it trophy in a sex crime. That's very interesting that you say that, lead with love, because the detective that I talked to quite a bit off air um, has had a lot of questions on whether or not this could have potentially been some sort of humiliation, a sex crime of some nature. We don't know the answers to that, but we've definitely speculated on that. Allie's asking an important question, I believe. Um, what if he's innocent and just wore it in honor? That is a possibility, Allie. But with what we know, with how the feds work, um, it's highly unlikely that they are going to unseal documents very much naming James Brenner as a suspect, and then the following day release a press release with Box Elder County again naming James Brenner as a suspect. If they didn't have any evidence, which they say that they do, physical evidence and also forensic data, which would be like a phone and stuff like that, it's highly unlikely that they would ever do something like that because they would be compromising this case. And just to be clear, the feds have a 96% prosecution success rate. I've said this on many other live streams, not pertaining to this case, but the Summer Wells case, that if the feds come knocking, say goodbye, because they work backwards. The feds won't just bust in and arrest you right away. Like local police and state police will do that. And then they'll sort of build the case. The feds work backwards. They build that case all the way up. So by the time they kick in your door and come for you, they've already got that case going. And your chances of like getting out are almost slim to none. Like 4%, really, of people that beat the feds in cases. So while they're saying that this is an ongoing investigation, what I am speculating that to mean is that they simply have not found Dylan. And obviously, that would be a huge discovery, and definitely, nail down this case. I sincerely hope, and I do believe that they are pressuring James Brenner absolutely to tell them where Dylan is. With these federal gun charges, it could be something of the nature where they're dangling these gun charges. Like, you're 58 years old. If you're put away for these guns, it's more or less a life sentence. But, if you tell us where Dylan is, maybe we can work out a little something. He's absolutely going to do time, but maybe not a potential life sentence if he was not the person that actually, forgive me, but, murdered Dylan. It's sounding like he is, but again, we do not know every single fact that is happening behind the scenes in this case. So, let's see. Exhibit A, doesn't it look sus to you? I guess exhibit Photoshop is pretty easy to pick out. Exhibit A, I'm assuming that you feel that this was photoshopped. Um, and please, yes, Allie, very good. Sex equals power. Yeah, a lot of people get a little confused with rape and stuff like that, and I've seen this asked a lot, like especially with men that have a lot of money or women that have a lot of money. Why would they rape someone? They could buy anyone. Well, because rape is not about sex. Rape is about power. It's about forcing power over another individual. So thank you for that comment. Um, Miracle Heart is saying if it's molded bent, like you know how some guys they will mold the bill of their hats, like Dylan's, you won't re-straighten it. Okay, so let's just look at that picture one more time. And let's compare it one more time.
We also have to remember that when the side by side was done, that it was originally a larger picture of Brenner, and it was also from like that news article or news coverage. So I think that the quality is just really crummy because it might have been cropped.
Well,
Just
I think that was a good comment with the bill of the hat
yeah,
because you know, some guys like to keep their hat bill straight. Some of them will put a curve to it. But looking at this picture, you know, Dylan seems to have it as it sort of is. And then Brenner is sort of the same, and his head is sort of tilted slightly to the left, whereas Dylan is looking like sort of straight on to the camera.
yeah,
There doesn't really look like with Brenner's picture that he did a lot of adjusting to that bill of the hat. And I'll leave that up, you know, for people to just, you know, scrutinize and, you know, sort of pick it as they want. But even when I'm looking at it now, and I've looked at this picture so much, but it does appear to be the same color. And again, Brenner's picture is, you know, Dylan's picture is a lot more clear. Brenner's is a little more blurry, I guess you could say.
and
Um,
I can see how the sun hitting the outside of the corner of the part of the bill, where
yeah.
it could make it like an optical illusion where it looks like it's a little bit straighter maybe, and like that's the sun shining under it, but it's actually over it and it's
Yeah,
bent.
it kind of Brenner's bill of this hat looks a little bit more curved or pushed
Yeah,
out somewhat,
yeah,
whereas Dylan doesn't. But that's what I'm saying. Like he looks like he's turned slightly to the left. The
yep.
sun is hitting that very part of the
Hmm.
hat. Um, but all in all, it does look like the same hat, in my opinion.
It does.
And again, with the family coming out and saying yes, you know that this was the hat. Uh, you know,
Yeah,
who are we to say no when they know more than we do? So
yeah.
um, let's see, Jerry. Jerry again. Jerry's really scrutinizing this hat and really looking at it, but that's a good thing, Jerry. You know, it's a good thing to really look at stuff and it's
Question everything.
yeah, question everything exactly. So Jerry, the guy's head looks like the sun is glaring on the side of it under the hat. Yes, I agree. I think that's what I was just saying. So let's see here.
um, I just realized last time you were talking, when you were talking about how the FBI works backwards. Earlier, we had talked about that on the phone, and we did forget some documents that we were
Okay.
supposed to. And it was the original documents that you pulled up.
Okay. I knew that.
So
I knew we were going to go over that. Um,
yeah,
okay. So this person is asking, didn't James get charged for attempted rape of a 51-year-old man? I know that there was the rape. I don't know that it was a 51-year-old man. Cynthia, are you aware of that?
Not at all. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I did see the rape. He attempted, but oh, Raybird, thank you for that comment. Feds can negotiate a better prison. Where is Raybird with that? Okay, so TF is another channel. By the way, Cynthia was looking them up, and in that style, the hat only came in one color for 1999. Okay, yeah, because that hat, like looking at that picture, they look the same color. It's just that James Brenner's picture is just more blurry. So
Yeah.
Cynthia, you did want to bring up those.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that James Brenner was arrested on June 20th, but then his summons and warrant for his arrest was served to him on the 27th while he was already in jail. Or it said attempted to serve or something like that. And I'm like, well, does that mean that he didn't accept the papers? That's interesting. It kind of shows
Yes.
what kind of personality he has.
So it's one arrest warrant filed June 27th that was served on him in Besco Jail. The other is the criminal complaint filed June 23rd.
And
That's
then I think there's
that's
another document on top of that.
let me just bring that up real quick,
Okay.
and then I'll share my screen. So yeah, this is what I was bringing up originally, and you're like, no, wrong thing. I'm like, okay, I thought that's what that was it, but we'll bring this up real quick. Should be sharing my screen now. And we'll go here and here. So, yes, Microsoft. So this is it. In the federal judicial district court, Box Elder County, state of Utah. State of Utah is the plaintiff versus James A. Brenner. Status, he's in custody, obviously. So Cynthia, can you see this clearly?
I can.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and read, or you want me to?
You can. I covered this on my channel, but it was kind of just like the focus was about the date. So at the very bottom, it says June 23rd, and he was already in jail at that point. So it's just kind of like, going into how like the FBI works backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly want to read that all the way out, but yeah, I've stated this so many times on my channel that if you don't understand how the feds work, they do work backwards. It's sort of like they will let you go. They will build this case right in front of your face, and then just literally, when they bust through your door and arrest you, they have that case going. But I do, again, I'll say it again. The reason that I feel like they're saying this investigation is ongoing is simply because they have not located Dylan. And that will be the nail in the coffin, again, for lack of a better term, but it really will be. And so I feel like James Brenner has a choice here. You're going to do life regardless because of the guns. So potentially, if the feds could work out something with him, like, you give us Dylan, and we may not give you a complete life sentence, but we could reduce something, like maybe the death penalty or something of that nature. And you know what? We haven't even looked into that. Does Utah have the death penalty? Do
I
you
have
know?
not looked into that. Do you want me to pull it up real quick?
I'm gonna Google it right now. Does Utah have the death penalty? Yes, they do. Yeah, they definitely do. So, they could, yeah, and we have people in the chat saying yes, yes. So absolutely, they could say, okay, we won't give you the death penalty, but we need Dylan. Um, I'm thinking that Dylan's family absolutely, with Justin's round statement, firing squad. I would rather lethal injection for him, and it's sort of like kind of go wrong. Is that potentially? But what
I
I
agree.
he has done with Dylan deserves something like that. So is that the petty coming out of me? Absolutely. The mama bear coming out of me for sure. But I digress.
Just plain old lethal injection is too easy.
Yeah, I feel like the firing squad, like you're gonna die pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But when that lethal injection goes wrong, yeah, there's some suffering there. And if he did to Dylan what I think he did to Dylan, but the feds are alleging that he's definitely a suspect. Um, I wouldn't be too sad if that lethal injection didn't quite go right. So just saying. Jerry, okay, I looked and that hat is pretty specific. Mm-hmm. Glory, hi Lynette, how are you? Um, The firing squad is a backup if the drugs aren't available for lethal injection. At trial, the convicted can choose. Yeah, I don't like that they should be able to have any choice. I feel like let us vote on it. I am voting messed up legal lethal injection. That's my vote. So, but not to make light of this situation, but it's just the mama bear coming out at me, I guess. Miracle Heart. Hi. I live in rural country area and they sell hats at the local gas station, ball caps in summer and knit hats in winter, also gloves. Okay. Glory, fine. I am being bad. I should sleep. What are you saying in here, Glory? What is going on? I've missed some comments, I guess.
I'm starting to feel the tiredness too, so I get it.
Are you?
And yeah, I've been tired all day though, just because I haven't been getting a lot of sleep the last 3 days.
It has been a lot. We have definitely said that where like a lot of sleepless nights and just going over and over and over stuff. And I feel bad about complaining about that because I'm sitting comfortably in my house and Dylan Rounds is not. So I don't really feel like I have a leg to stand on about, oh, I have lack of sleep, um, when he's missing. So,
Yeah, it's
but
difficult to walk away from it even for like a day. It's like always on my mind. And same with you. We're always calling each other about it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, even for July weekend, like I kept telling you, I need a break. I just want to take
yeah,
this weekend to myself. It just did not happen. So, uh, yeah, we might be ending this live. I think we've given the information that we wanted to give, and speculated with you guys enough. And I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Not enjoyed per se. I feel like that's a bad word to use, but found something in this stream. Um, I don't know what word to use after that, but it's odd to say things like enjoy or stuff like that when it comes to a true crime case. So, um, but what is this? Glory. Glory is saying, no, wrong comment. Glory is saying Chase Venstra extradition at 9 a.m. Jim Brenner preliminary hearing at 1:30. Yes, we are aware of Jim's. I was not
I can't
aware of
say anything
cases.
about that. Have you seen the documents for Jim's? Because the only
Uh,
one that I can find is for the 11th on Monday.
no, yes, he does have a hearing. today
Okay.
at 1:30. But Chase Venstra, I have not seen that. So in case you guys are confused, Glory is who we had or who I had up on panel yesterday. She is a paralegal. She was in court with Jim Brenner 2 days ago at this point. So she was a personal eyewitness as a paralegal to what was taking place there. Raybird is pushing your channel hard, and I appreciate that, Ray, for Cynthia.
Thank
Yes,
you.
please go check her out, and we are going to go ahead and end this live. Cynthia, thank you once again for being on. I always enjoy your presence and what you bring. And again, please go check her channel out. She's great. And I think we will see you guys later. Cynthia, get some sleep.
All right. You too.
Okay. We will see you guys later. Bye
All
for
right.
now.
Bye.